session, which we called Film Professionals Get Trained. I'll just say a couple of words about myself. I've been a producer for 25 years, and then the head of the Israel Film Fund for another 21 years. And here we are tonight, and this session is really hosted by the Creative Europe Desk in Netherlands, and I would like to very much thank Emma O'Hare. You know that the Creative Europe Media supports around 60 different training programs all over Europe. And the two training initiatives which we will have with us late tonight are really, and will be presented, are the ACE producers, the APostLab, and the TorinoFilmLab, all of them great initiatives. But before we start, I would like to introduce Nelice, and then she will really facilitate and help me with the hosting, and will make sure that all the Q&As will go very smooth and keep me okay with all this digital quagmire around me. And actually, I think that it's your turn now, Nelice.
Yes, thank you, Catriel. Welcome, everyone. My name is Neeltje van der Heijden. I'm a post supervisor from the Netherlands. I'm also part of the APostLab team, one of the presenters here today. I am your host for this call. I will be moderating the chat, and I would like to ask everyone, since there's now 73 people and still counting, it would be best if everyone goes to speaker view, because then you will actually see the speakers. And since there's a lot of people on this call, that might be the easiest thing to do. Of course, keep your cameras muted, your microphones muted, but also your cameras, because then actually you will be able to see the speakers only. It will be a bit easier. As far as questions go, we're all here to answer your questions and looking forward to those. You can use the chat to ask your questions, and I will keep an eye on the chat, read out the question, and Catriel will make sure you will get an answer. For that, maybe you have to open your chat actively, because we have a lot of people on the screen. And please bear in mind, if you send a question to the chat, that everyone can see it, unless you're sending it to me privately. Okay, have fun.
Okay, so first of all, and just to continue what we just heard, please ask questions. It's a great opportunity. We have with us 3 great workshops and great people, and don't hesitate and ask all the questions you have in mind. So, you know, we are on a very dynamic art form, and an art form which keeps changing all the time. And I think that it's really part of our responsibility as filmmakers to keep ourselves as much as possible updated and really knowing what's going on and being as much as possible informed. And I think that this applies also to the new technologies, to the different new financing landscapes and possibilities and options, to maybe new ways of marketing, distribution, and sales, and also to improve our storytelling skills and so on. And today, the 3 projects, or the 3 training that we will hear now, really for many of us have been, I would say, a real eye-opener, and I will say for some of us even a game changer. So this is a great opportunity, and without talking too much, I would like to very much, and I'm very super happy to welcome my dear friend Jacobine van der Vloed, who is the executive director of ACE, and she will tell us all about ACE, and the floor is yours, Jacobine.
I'll put on my timer, because you know how it goes. I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm just gonna ask everyone if you see my screen. Catriel, can you confirm that you see my screen? Yeah, I see.
Yes, I do. Everything is okay.
Cool, thank you. I would say nice to see you all in a real life setting, but I'm actually not. I'm talking into a camera, which is weird, but we're just gonna do it. My name is Jacobine van der Vloed, and like Catriel was saying, I'm the director at ACE Producers. Since early 2017, when ACE moved to the Netherlands. ACE has been existing already for about 28 years. Let me just check. Yeah, I can move. almost 28 years, so it's been around for quite a while. It's a network of producers, experienced producers, and I'll take you through that. So you can see here on the slide a bit of the historical facts. I think what is important to mention about ACE is that it's a lot about sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, and being together and opening up. And I think for most of our training programs, because in that sense, we are not special, I think within each training program, that's one of the core elements, is that you really there with each other as a group, putting all the dirt on the table and learning from each other. We at the moment we have around 250 active producers, mostly based in Europe, but also outside. So in Canada we have quite a bunch of them, but also in South America, in Asia. Like it's saying here on the slide, it's really based on professionalism, mutual trust, and collaborative working. It's not only workshop based, we really say we are a network of producers. So sorry for the ones who are maybe directors or writers or other types of professionals, but our program is really only for producers, and that's what makes it in that sense special, and every one of us has their specialty in that sense. But we are there for the producer. And just to take you a bit through our main program. So our main program has been existing for all this time. It consists of 3 workshops, and we do a wrap-up, which is called our annual reunion. And I'll quickly guide you a bit through these workshops to get an idea of what it consists of. So the first workshop in a year, so we select 18 producers. I'll get later to the eligibility criteria, so hold on, please. So the first workshop is the content development workshop, which is always early October. And we just literally this Saturday, we wrapped up the workshop, which was for the first time ever in an online environment. Challenging, obviously, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So this workshop, like the title already says, is around content development. Each one of the producers, they come with a project in development. Generally, it's advanced treatment stage or in script stage. They get an intensive script course during this workshop, but there's a lot of one-to-one meetings with finance experts, with the script consultants, with marketing experts, and there's group sessions. So these group sessions are really there because the producers are more experienced. They can really advise each other as well. So this is the start. This is a week-long workshop, and generally we would have that somewhere in Europe. We were supposed to go to Mallorca this year, which was finally an exotic location, and that didn't happen. So that's a bit of a shame. But so this is the first one. The second workshop is always late November. We always coincide with our dear friends of TorinoFilmLab, but we are friends, so we manage that. And this is actually the core of ACE, let me say like that. This is where it all started. So during this workshop, each one of the producer, they present their finance plans. And they have 45 minutes each. And during these 45 minutes, they go for the plan. Generally, they present different types of plans. And in the room, there are about 40 consultants. So our experts, we call them consultants. And these are sales agents, these are heads of funds, other producers, people from online distribution, name it all. And what happens during this workshop, it's like highly active and interactive. Someone presents the plan and literally the whole room sort of shoots on the plan. So there's all these dynamics and happening because, and fights and quarrels, because someone might say this, and yes, you can combine this territory with that territory and this type of money with that. So it's actually really nice for the consultants as well. And it's a learning curve for everyone. So not only for the producers in the room, but also for the consultants. And that's why they always want to come back. Generally, we have other types of sessions. We do a lot of, within ACE, we do a lot of case studies, because that's where we hear from the producers that they learn a lot from each other. And this is not always the good rides. It's also a lot of the films which really producers struggle with. We generally also do a sales case study. The third workshop of the main training is called the Business Prospects Workshop. This is really about business development, business strategies. Producers are not only producing films, they also have to really run companies, which is sometimes difficult for all of us in these times especially. And we work with a business strategist who doesn't come from film world. He's massively into the economical aspects, let's say it like that. And it's a reality check, but it's an interesting dynamic, and there's a lot of discussions happening. So this is always the last workshop, but it's connected to our annual reunion. And the annual reunion is the place where the 18 producers are met by other producers from the network. So what I was mentioning earlier on, we have around 250 active producers. And whoever wants to come signs up. So this year we were supposed to be in Scotland. We were supposed to have the biggest annual reunion ever. We were around 100 producers. Didn't happen, but we're hopeful that it will happen anytime soon in the new year. And this is really a place for networking. I think that is something which is important to mention. ACE is not only about training. It's so much about networking. It's so much about getting to know each other. And then the annual reunion is like a festive weekend where we have a lot of sessions, content, name it all, but it's also about catching up with each other, perhaps setting up new collaborations, co-productions. Then I will move on because I'm aware of time. Throughout the year, we have a lot of other activities, obviously, as well. We have collaborations with festivals, with markets. We organize events at all these places. Like, for example, tomorrow I'll be flying to Rome for the first time this year. Not since Berlin. I'll be flying to a festival, and we'll host a panel. We'll do some gatherings. So we bring the producers together also at these festivals and markets. We do online consultations, and there's networking, and there's also actually networking now online. So each month we have online network sessions, and since the start of the pandemic, we've been organizing these sessions, and the producers within our network are actually really appreciating that a lot, because we've been talking about insurances, about all the protocols, name it all. And to hear it from all these different perspectives and from all these different territories is really, really helpful, and it has benefited a lot of our producers. So to go to the eligibility criteria, as a producer interested in ACE, you need to have produced at least one feature film as the main producer. And I say at least because in most cases, people have produced already more fiction features. You need to come with a project in development, like I was mentioning earlier. And you need to be an owner, partner, or an associate within an independent production company. We take 18 participants a year. 15 of those places are for media countries. So we have 3 places available for non-media, which includes Switzerland and soon to be UK as well, unfortunately, and then the rest of the world. So it's highly selective, and I'm getting a text message. I have to wrap up soon. Of course, we're highly selective. There's only 18 spots available. So it sometimes happens that when you apply, you will not get in the first time. But that's, even our president didn't get in the first time. I'll move on. Application is not, we don't have an open application process. You approach us, we have a conversation with you, because we don't want you to put a lot of effort in applying and then afterwards we say, actually, you're not eligible. So we prefer to have the conversation. So we meet at festivals or we meet at online, which we've done this year. My colleague's email is in this slide, and she's our producer liaison, so you can reach out to her. And then just to wrap up, this is the main training where you will bring a feature film project, fiction, but we've set up new workshops. One of them is a series special, and the other one is the animation special. And these are 1 week workshops really focusing on series production or on animation production. And they've been highly appreciated, especially both, because we always thought series, but the time now during pandemic, everyone wants to get into animation. So if you're interested in that, you can always reach out to us. There's always information you can find on the website. This is about our festival partners. I will go through that and our recent successes. Man, 10 minutes is short. Thank you for this, but I hope it was a bit helpful and useful, and thanks for the platform.
Okay, thank you very much, Jacobine. I think that you gave us a very nice presentation. I think you covered quite a bit. Are there any questions at the moment?
Yes, I did get some questions in the chat. The first one was, will we get the presentation after the session, Jacobine?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. No
problem. The whole session is being recorded, and I would guess that it will be open for people to see it and to watch it also later in the week or the days and so on.
Do you want me to stop sharing, or do you want me to...
Yeah, probably already stop sharing, I guess. Or this you would maybe want to show.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have another question, Catriel, from Peter Lindhout about ACE eligibility.
Yes.
Can the feature that you need to have produced be an animated film?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it can be any type of feature film. So we have actually animated features within usually 1 or 2 within each program. Documentary is more difficult because documentary is such a specific field. We sometimes have a documentary which is sort of in between fiction and documentary, but for that you need other types of consultants and a different type of training. And there's really good training programs for documentary, but animation, yes. But we have also a specific workshop now set up for animation.
Okay. Any other questions coming in, Nelce?
Not right now, but
okay, so,
please feel free to ask your questions in the chat.
I just wanted to ask you now, if you have any changes or you plan any changes or adjustments in your programming, in your programs, especially because to answer some questions which may come up now with the COVID and the COVID-19, with so many of the producers at home for such a long time, with a lot of anxieties, etc., not clear what the future will bring, or you keep the main program as it is, or you did some adjustments?
Oh, but we never keep the main program as it is. I think we're the ones, we have to be at the forefront as training organizations. So we have to look into the future and see, okay, what does the industry need? So I think all of us, we always adapt our programs to what we think in our case the producers need in the future. So definitely we have been talking, of course last week we did a workshop online, and we have been talking a lot about COVID and what is the impact on current productions, what is the impact on the type of storytelling, what types of stories are we telling, and are the stories we are currently developing, is the audience still in 2 years' time interested in these type of stories? And I think that's very relevant, and we have to think about that.
Okay, any questions coming in now?
Yes, another one. This is a question from Elizabeth Francisco. Are filmmakers and producers from Curaçao eligible to partake in any of these programs? So that would be a question.
Yeah, I think most of us are, I mean, these are media supported programs, so training initiatives. And there is, because you're media supported, there's this 80%, 20% rule. So 80% of the participants need to come from media territories. So there are places available for non-media territories. And maybe in some cases, maybe Mercedes will say something later, or Joost, maybe in some cases there's also differences there. But yes, there are spots available for for let's say non-media or non-EU, in our case, producers then.
Okay.
Anything to add?
Other questions?
Well, I thought maybe I don't know if for APostLab or for TorinoFilmLab, they would like to respond to that question as well.
Yeah.
No, we will when we get to the. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Well, actually, I'm not really sure. I thought we can allow 15% non-Europeans participants, but I'll have to check the guidelines again. Maybe it is 20.
Thanks,
so
Joost.
I just wanted to ask you another question, Jacobin, because I know for so many years that ACE is so much about networking.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much basically a very great, beautiful club of producers or producers club. And the question is, how do you keep this club and the spirit of this particular club in these days?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, because of course, I mean, you cannot replicate what you have in real life online. I mean, we can do a lot online and there's a lot of possibilities, but it's more complicated. But you got to do what you got to do, and we've learned actually quite a lot. So what we have been doing in bringing people together in these network sessions, we're organizing a lot online because that's the world we're facing at the moment. I must say is that I think us training organizations, we're in quite a lucky position, because, for example, when you run a training program and you bring 18 producers together, you have a community. When it comes to festivals and markets, they are in a more difficult position in that sense, because you bring people together who are from different places, they don't know each other yet. And we always bring the same group together in the case of the workshops. So even last week we got the comment, yes, it's a shame that we cannot have, our coffee together at the coffee station. We cannot have dinner together because that's where the deeper conversations happen. But yes, they also said we did feel as if we're together. We did feel as if we bonded, and so you can actually create it. But it's, of course, they say next time we want to be together, because it's when it comes to online, you have to still deal with two worlds. So you're in your Zoom training world, but you have your family in the background, or you have you're also on the set because you're also making a film. And when you're really going to a place, going to a training, you're there. That's where you're at, and that is more difficult online. I think that's
yeah.
Experience.
Okay, I think we have. Thank you very much. I think we have one more question, which I guess will be the last one in this round.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's some
Dennis.
others, but we can do that after the next presentation because it's more generic. Is it possible to be selected as a delegate producer? Would that be the same as an executive producer? Because in Spain, it's the most common title. So it's specifically, yeah.
That's then we go into quite a deep subject of what is the title, because executive producer in mainland Europe and in the UK has a different meaning. So what we say, when you have produced as the main producer, as the producer who brings the film from the start to Z to the end, so not the one who executes only on set. We are really the ones who take it from development up until you bring it to an audience. That is the producers within the main program, whom we focus on.
Okay, so I guess that we ran out of time on this round, right?
No, we're doing okay.
So we are doing okay. So if we're doing okay, I will ask you, Jacobin, one more question. When we say a producer, my understanding of a producer is a guy who owns a company, who is really the one who signs the checks, is the one who keeps the overall responsibility, and he's like the producer. Mm-hmm. But the question is, if you can take also producers who operate within a larger production company, but they are not the sole owners of the company.
Yeah, we make exceptions. We don't make it a general rule. But for example, this year we took on one Dutch producer. He works in a larger company, but he he runs his own projects within this company. So and he brings the experience of that. I think that's for us what's very important. So there is people with different backgrounds, and it's also what's important to mention is that producers come with different motivations to the workshop. So for some producers, they really want to work on the project because they're stuck. For some producers, they want to look into their companies. Okay, where do I want to be in 5 years? For some, it's more personal as a producer, or as a, where do I want to be? So there's different motivations, and that's what we try to also combine. And since it's a small group, it's really about this dynamic within the group to create that.
Okay, so thank you very much, Jacobine. And we move on. And now it is really my very great pleasure, and I'm very happy to introduce my very dear friends from APostLab, Nico Ramos, the head of studies, and Joost van der Vries, the executive director of APostLab. And guys, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Catriel.
Thank you, Catriel.
Thank you, Media Desk. Thank you, Jacobine, for your great presentation. I saw so many of my good old friends because, yes, I've been a member of, I think, 20 years of ACE. So that makes it clear for all of you. I'm a producer and I'm managing director of APostLab. The A, in our case, stands for Amsterdam, which is not the case for ACE, which is also based in Amsterdam, but we also work internationally. I'm here with Nico Ramos. Yes, I can't see him. Right. Oh, yeah, he's the guy who's furthest from the camera, I think, of everybody here. And he's our head of studies, and he is an amazing post-production supervisor. So we all work in our capacities next to running this workshop. And I will focus on the annual 6-day workshop that we want to present here for you. Our main aim is to create a better understanding, more awareness, and more appreciation of post-production. And actually, I would like to challenge the term post-production. Post-production is, I think, not something that exists anymore because it's all tied into production nowadays, especially moving to virtual production. The annual workshop is aimed at two types of professions. One is the producer, one is the post-supervisor. Now, why would you want to have a producer coming to a post-production workshop? I'll tell you. When I started managing this like 5 years ago, I'd been a producer for 20 years and I didn't know enough about post-production. I found out because there's a huge world out there that we should know just enough about to know when we should talk to whom in order to plan well for our post-production, so that post-production doesn't become this, afterthought or sometimes post-production hell, but it becomes a well-organized, well-scheduled, and well-budgeted part of your production, and it can become much more creative than it often is when you're only fixing problems. So that's why producers need to attend, and producers attend with an international project. So when this started, like over 10 years ago, under the name EP2C, the idea was, hey, we're all co-producing in Europe. And sometimes my post-production or parts of my post-production will be in France, and sometimes it will be in Greece. And what does that mean for the film and for the creative process and for how to manage the planning and the budget and so forth? Nowadays, of course, it's not only international co-production, it's also anything that you produce on an international scale or for the streamers. Those production where you need international talent to make a good product. Then the post-supervisors. The post-supervisors are basically for us are the line producers of post-production of your film or production film. They should speak directly to the producer because they manage a really important part of your production, as I already stressed. And what we do during this workshop is that we also make clear to the post-production supervisors what are the challenges that a producer is faced with. Why would sometimes my sound post-production be in Germany the one day, and then financing changes and it's going to be in Spain. So this is something that we need to establish, a better bond between the producer and the post supervisor. Nico will tell you a little bit more about how we do that during the 6-day workshop. But I would like to add one more thing. For us, projects can be fiction, they can be documentary, they can be feature, they can be series. That for us is all the same, and actually we like a combination of those. Now, Nico will take you a little bit through the schedule of the annual workshop, where he will also explain all the different layers of the curriculum that is very much his own design. So, Nico, you please talk about that part.
Thank you, Joost. Before I share the schedule, let me expand on one thing. When we started this workshop in 2010, at the beginning, it was really about explaining what happens in post. And we very quickly learned that producers not only need to know something about post, they need a different skill set than people in post. So what we do at the workshop, we don't train colorists, we don't train VFX artists or sound designers. We train those people who manage and budget them. And that is a skill every producer should have to a certain extent, knowing enough about post-production to have an eye-level discussion about everything that's going on in a project. And when we look at how post-production has expanded, how we are postponing decisions more and more from the shoot into post, and how we need to handle that well, that really all ties into the idea of understanding the basics of everything that is going on in your project. Let me quickly share a schedule. This is not the upcoming workshop. This is the workshop that we did last year in Bucharest. And I'm just showing this to explain three things, or the three basic elements. The core element, so to say, is group work, where we take the larger group, which is usually around 24 people. We divide it into two smaller groups, and the producers bring their projects into these groups. And then we pair the producers up with the post supervisor, and then we discuss the projects, and we go through every project in these groups. So that is, let's say, the core element. The second element is everything that is, in this case here, red. I'll just zoom into some of those where we have sessions on digital workflow, on color grading, on visual effects, on sound design. That is where we give lectures to the entire group, and we have all kinds of experts come in to talk about their field. And the third element we have is individual training, where we pair the experts to talk to individual teams or individual producers to answer very concrete questions to their project. So those are the three elements that we have in our workshop. For the upcoming workshop, it will look very similar to this, with the big change that we will be doing everything online, or just about everything online. And it will be in January 2021 for the next longer workshop. And we'll be doing it divided basically over 3 weekends to do the workshop online. Yeah, maybe Joost, you want to close out on this to finish our presentation?
Oh, certainly. I'm not done yet. Yeah. Do you want to keep sharing? Yeah, why not? So if you look at individual work, if as a producer you come with a project that is in development or in financing or in pre-production, but not in shoot, you go through this workshop and you go home basically with a really solid plan, with a digital workflow plan, a schedule, and a budget that fits your financing plan for your project. Producers that come to our workshop would usually be producers that have produced feature length, maybe nationally, maybe already internationally. So about there in their career. Sometimes we get more experienced producers, but that is often when they suddenly find themselves having to handle a very visual effects heavy project. And they really feel they need a bit of help with that. For post supervisors, we love to have independent working post supervisors because we feel that we need many more of those in Europe. But we're also open to people who work at companies like production companies or even vendors. So that's for the participants we look for. Our next annual workshop will be in January. It will be mainly online. So the schedule will be a bit different than it's here because it's spread over 3 weekends, 2 of which we are still planning to go online. And the third, we are, with our fingers crossed, still hoping to do live with the option of following everything online. And that would be in Maastricht, January 2021. We don't have much of a presentation, so if that question comes up, you can find everything of what we told also on www.APostLab.com, of course, and there you'll also find a lot of other activities that we do. One of them I'd like to point out is that we also work together quite a bit with Netflix, and I think the people at Netflix, the post-production people, are really awesome. So they often come as trainers, and I think that is really essential. I think all producers now, of course, also aim to produce for the Netflixes and Amazons of this world. And I think we need to all realize as producers that is quite different. It's quite different from how we in Europe are used to producing and the expectation for how creatively and technically the process works and how you deliver and what you deliver. And to go through quality control, that is pretty tough. So that's also something that we pay a lot of attention to work on with all participants. And I think that's about it. Or Nico, some last inspiration? No?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Are we in time?
Okay. You are right on time, and thank you very, very much, Joost and Nico. And I see that we have by now 3 questions already. So before we go to the questions, I have one question to ask. Because, we discussed and I've been participating and I learned so much in your workshop and so on. But I just wanted you to say a couple of words about the fact that with all the options and the possibilities that post-production allows with all these technologies and so on, how does this affect the actual storytelling? And that it really becomes, in a way, part of the storytelling or can even add to the storytelling with all these elements?
More options always give us more choices and more possibilities, and they can also be more traps. That's why it is so important to have a good working relationship between a director and a producer, and for both of them to understand what is going on in every stage. I think that's the key element here. We keep saying at our workshop, storytelling does not stop after the script is finished, and does not stop after the shooting. It stops at the very end of post, because post-production is part of storytelling. There are a lot of creative things that add to storytelling, that add to the way characters work. Music adds to the way a film is perceived. So does sound design, so does color grading. So there's a lot of stuff in there that is simply part of storytelling. And that's really what we're trying to look at, to get a good combination of the resources that are available in terms of time and money, and the goals you can achieve with that. And again, for that, it is necessary to have that basic understanding what you can do and what you cannot do. Okay, great. So Nelice, I'm turning to you for the first question.
Yes, there's a question. What are the costs involved? It doesn't mention which workshop, but I'm now assuming that the cost for the workshop that are presented here could be found on the websites. Is that correct? Jacobine, Mercedes for APostLab, I know. So I think it would be good to see it there. The other question is, can first-time producers join? Joost, could you maybe say something about that?
Yes, occasionally we have admitted first-time producers, because when we do the selection, Of course, we look at the level of experience, but we also look at where are people from. We look at gender balance, inclusivity, and diversity. So it's not just about this one single application that we look at. We also look at what are the group dynamics of the people that we select. So that's one way to answer the question. And the other way of answering the question is that also during the selection program, we make a first selection, but then before we make a final selection, I will have a conversation with all the producers, and Nico and Neeltje will talk to all the post supervisors. So there'll be an interview before you are selected. So that's basically how we work.
I have two more.
The next question.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. The next question.
Do we need to have an international project currently in production, or is pre-production phase okay as well?
Let me do before you shoot.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
Yes.
That's one of the key lines in the workshop. The post starts before the shoot. So we really want to talk to the producers before you go into production. So anywhere from early script stage until the beginning of production is a good time to participate in our workshop.
Yes. And then probably the final question, maybe we have time for one more after this. So if you have any, please put them in the chat. We are already a producer post-supervisor duo presenting a project. Is that okay? And will we be able to work together?
Joost, shall I do that one? Or do you want to?
No, absolutely. Kill it.
We've had that case a couple of times, and it's actually a great way to participate, because what happens, people suddenly have time out of the office in a completely different environment, talking to the same experts at the same time and going back with new knowledge, and it goes for the entire team. It's not just one of the two. So yes, that is a great way to participate. And if you have someone you like to work with in post, yes, please apply as a duo. We're very much in favor of that.
Okay. So if there is like one minute, I will ask you one of the last questions. You actually mark or celebrate this year your 10th anniversary, and in your particular area of these new technologies and adjustments and changes in all the post-production options and possibilities, how do you adjust your program? How do you keep all the time updated? Because every day there's a new device, a new element, a new option, a new software, a new whatever. And how do you do it so that it will be completely up to date with all those changes, which are never-ending changes, especially in your area?
Well, the trick is you don't have to know everything yourself, but you have to know the people who do. And that goes for all the experts in their respective field. And that's really what we're up to connect with the people who know and to connect to those who can give exactly this advice. But then again, while, yes, workflows do change, other things such as an approach, a mindset, a basic understanding, that does not necessarily change, even though Red has yet again announced a new camera or any other manufacturer. So there are some truths or some facts that you can learn beyond, let's say, a certain technical aspect. And again, the core is to understand how to get creative value out of all that technical stuff. And then you also need to find a crew to handle the technical side. But it's really about getting that creative end out of post-production.
Okay, great. Thank you very, very much. It was really very informative. And now, last but not least, Mercedes Fernandez Alonso. She's the executive director of the TorinoFilmLab, which is a very wide range initiative. And now it's your turn, my dear.
Thank you, Katrin. Thank you, everyone. I am really happy to be here. As Nico told before everyone connected, we were saying the fact that all our initiatives are complementary to each other. So Jacobin is working and Ace are working on the production part, used Nico with APostLab post-production. We as TorinoFilmLab, our main, but not only our main target is writers, directors, and also producers who are working with the writer-director on the creative process. So I will share with you a presentation. So let me share my screen. Okay, but my presentation disappeared and you are seeing an elephant now. So let me go to my file. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Okay. So TorinoFilmLab, as I said, is addressed mainly to writers, directors, and producers. What do we do in TorinoFilmLab? We invite these professionals to apply with a project, and our aim is supporting the teams in the development of the project while training them as film professionals. And this, we do it during three different programs that I will explain. Every program has 3 workshops, and the 3 programs finish with a co-production forum, a moment of presentation of the projects in front of an international audience of producers, distributors, fans, and so on. On that occasion, we also give some financial support to the production. And on top of these 3 programs and the co-production forum, we also have 2 funds. So I will go with you through the presentation of all these activities of TorinoFilmLab. And then, of course, at the end, you will be able to ask me any questions that you have. Just let me check the time. Okay. So the 3 programs are Series Lab for TV series, Script Lab, and Feature Lab for feature films. We started in 2008 focusing on script writing for fiction feature films. So we started with a Script Lab and Feature Lab. The difference between these 2 programs is the stage of development of the projects. In a Script Lab, we work with projects at the stage of treatment. And what we do during the year is that we support the script writer on the process of script development. In Feature Lab is addressed to projects more advanced. They are in the stage of pre-production, so they already have a draft of the script ready, they already have a producer, they already have a director, and we work with the teams of writer, director, and producer, because yes, we still work on the script, but not only. We also work on all the aspects related to the direction and to the production of the project. Feature Lab has a specific points, let's say. It's addressed to directors working on their first or second feature film, because when we ideated the program, we wanted to focus on emerging talents. So this is why Feature Lab is specifically addressed to these targets. In years after, we also started to work with TV series. So we launched Series Lab. Series Lab, like a Script Lab, is focused on the writing process. So the projects apply to TorinoFilmLab, to Series Lab with the concept of the TV series. And during the year, again, during 3 workshops, we work on the treatment of the pilot, and on the mini Bible of the TV series. During these years, we started to receive requests from professionals who were asking a shorter format on one side, because since the moment that you apply for the programs of TorinoFilmLab, you are selected, you participate in the 3 workshops and the co-production market, it makes, this is 1 year long process. And so we met some professionals who were asking for support to their projects in a specific moment. And also we were receiving many requests from people who were not selected in the programs, because we received many applications, but we have a very limited number of seats in the programs. So we were receiving requests from people who wanted in some way to access to the training. So that's when we decided to launch 3 years ago the format TFL Extended. What is TFL Extended? TFL Extended, we are speaking about workshops, so we are not speaking about programs, but workshop 4-day workshops that take place in Turin, and that's deal with different contents. It's a very flexible format that allows us also to change and to explore also new contents during the year. So we have workshops, for example, on script writing of feature fiction films, TV series, but also story editing, audience design. So it's Respect the Programs is a much more flexible format. And this year, when the coronavirus arrived to our lives, we had to put this format online. And in this way, we started TFL Next. So basically, TFL Next, the concept is the same concept of TFL Extended, but it's an on. And as Jacobin said during her presentation, we realized that meeting online is not the same than meeting in person, but you also have some advantages. For example, with TFL Next, we could see that there were people who could not allow to pay the travel and the hotel to come to the workshops. And with TFL Next, they were able to participate because the cost was lower. So in some way we could reach some people that we could not reach otherwise. So that's why next year, when we hope this emergency will be over, we will keep both formats, in person and online. Here you can see some more details about the programs. I already explained most of them. Just let you know that in ScriptLab we have also, inside the program, we have a part dedicated to professionals who want to be trained as story editors. So what do I mean? I mean any professional. It could be me, it could be Catriel, it could be a creative producer who wants to know, to improve the approach to the script, how to help the writer. So basically any film professional who wants to develop his or her skills as a story editor, they apply without a project, and they work on the projects that participate in ScriptLab. They work together with the ScriptLab tutors. So in ScriptLab, we work in groups of 4 projects, a tutor from TorinoFilmLab, and a story editor's trainee. And the idea, again, as Jacobin also said, because we are all sharing, I think, the same philosophy in these training programs. The idea is sharing, meaning that every person in the group reads the materials of the others, and give feedback to the other participants. So the participation is not only about your own project, but it's also about the projects of the other people participating with you. Here you can see the dates for next year for the workshops. We plan to be in Ukraine at the end of March. The second workshop will be online, and the third workshop will be in Turin in November, right before the meeting event. The meeting event is our co-production forum. If you are interested in applying to a Script Lab, you should prepare your application because the deadline is October 23. Feature Lab. Feature Lab, we launched the call this month. So stay tuned if you are interested in, and as I said, is addressed to teams of writer, director, and producer. The first workshop for next year is planned in June in Madrid. The second workshop in September in Austria, and the third workshop, it's always in Turin because it's always right before the co-production forum, and we prepare the teams to the presentation in the co-production forum. The deadline for applications is January 18th. If you want to know which materials we usually ask, you can check the call for applications of last year. It's still online, so you can check the materials on our website, on the programs section. Series Lab, it's dedicated specifically to European projects, while Script Lab and Feature Lab are open to all the nations around the world. Series Lab is specifically European. Why? Because we wanted to support an European voice in the field of TV series. So we wanted to offer a tool to the European professionals that were entering this new, let's say, area, and to offer a training on the storytelling for TV series, which is quite different from the feature fiction. You can see the dates of our workshops for next year. The first in June in Georgia. The second workshop will be online. And again, the third workshop will be right before the co-production market.
We have to, Mercedes, we are running out of time. So if you can really wrap it up in like one sentence, and then you'll have a chance in the Q&As.
Okay, perfect. So all these programs finish in the meeting event, which is our co-production market, and this year will take place online. You can see the dates there, 16 to 20.
Okay.
And that's it.
Thank you very much, Mercedes. Thank you very, very much. And now I turn to Nelice. Do we have questions? I think we have one, maybe more.
Yes, we have a few. The most recent one that came in, what is your description of advanced stage? Would that be very early development and then of advanced? What if you're in an early stage?
I am not sure if I understood the question, sorry.
It's based on what does the description of advanced stage of your script means? Yeah.
As a stage of development for the projects. When I was speaking about Feature Lab, I said that it's a program for fiction, feature films, and now also creative documentaries for projects that are at an advanced stage of development. What I meant is projects that already have a script, at least a draft. It has not to be the definitive draft, but at least a first draft of the script. They already have a producer attached and a director attached. So that's what I meant when I said advanced, as opposed to an early stage when I said the Script Lab is the stage of treatment.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's the next question?
There was another one. Yes, just came in. Will the deadline for the one coming up at the end of this month be extended?
Okay.
Good question.
That's a good. At the moment, we don't plan to extend the deadline, but of course, if we have a specific case of someone that for some reason cannot arrive in time, we are flexible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and I think there's a more of a generic question that all the programs could answer, but maybe we should do that one last.
Yeah, so I will ask. Mercedes. You know, you have a wide range of programs, so a wide range of really different tracks of things that you do, and it's really great. But some of them you really swallowed when you presented it, and maybe you can tell us in one sentence, for example, 1 or 2 sentences, what is audience design? Because you say that very quickly, and I'm not sure that people understood. What do you mean by the audience design program which you have?
I mean, engaging audiences already at the stage of the script writing.
So what does it mean? It's open for what? For distributors, for salespeople, for sales agents, for cinema owners, or for producers and directors?
Film professionals in general who want to go deep into that concept. So it's like a story editing. It's really open to film professionals with different backgrounds who are interested in going deep into that idea, which is not waiting that the film is complete before designing the distribution strategies, but do that already in the development stage and connected to the story of the project.
So it's not like if I want to become a sales agent or I want to become a distributor or something that I will come to this workshop. This is not the point. Am I right or wrong?
You are right. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
No.
Okay, so again, it's a matter because is there any threshold or any minimum of experience, for example, in this workshop, if we take this workshop as an example?
No, we really don't tack on a specific profile. So it's really open to also different levels, let's say.
Okay, so I will stop here with my questions and I will just turn to Nelice. Yes, is there any other question?
Yes, there are 3 generic questions, I would say. Well, one at each generic for all the programs. So I don't know what would be the easiest way.
The easiest way will have me to ask to bring the questions, and then it's all open for all of us or for all of you, who those of you wants to answer. Yeah,
so you can unmute. First one, what are your scholarship options?
Who's ready? Who's the first of you who would like to answer? Joost?
Yes, go.
Yes, please. We have scholarships available. And if you read our website, you see that if you write in your motivation letter when you apply why you think you would be needing that, then we would consider that during the selection process. And yes, so there are a few available each workshop.
Jacobine?
Yeah, same with us. We have through media, we have scholarships for low production capacity countries. We have deals with certain territories, so with Rai Cinema, for example, so with Italy, but we also have good collaborations with institutions. So maybe the scholarship doesn't go through us, but like, for example, with the British Council, once we have a British producer or producers selected, we will inform them and they will get scholarship through them or funding for the program.
Yes. Mercedes?
Quite the same like Jacobine. We give scholarships to low production capacity countries. And also we have deals with some institutions. For example, next year with German films. So in that case, if we select a German project, they will have the fee covered.
Yeah. So Please always check the guidelines of your local film funds, because often they will pay at least part of the costs that are related to training.
Yeah. Okay, can we move to the next generic question?
Yes, it's also for all 3 programs. Would it be possible to apply as a producer's duo?
Master?
Who is the first?
In
You
our
wanna...
case-
Yes. Jacobine?
Yes, in our case, you start.
Jacobine?
Okay. So for example, in Feature Lab, we accept a second producer. They need to pay an extra fee, but we can as producer. And in Series Lab, we accept teams of 3 people. So it can be, for example, 1 writer and 2 producers.
Mm-hmm.
I can be
How
sure.
about you, Jacobine?
We don't, because we only have 18 producers. So we also really advise people not to want to do it. But that doesn't mean that we don't have producers from one company who have participated within ACE. So there's, but then they do it in different years. Because I think it's really good for you as a person to sort of also do it separately from each other. But so there's people from one company within our main network, but within one workshop, we don't do it.
And for us, we have limited spots available for every workshop. So we say no, but there's always exceptions to the rules, because last time in Bucharest, we had 2 people from the same company that was from the hosting company, country where we were at the moment. So there's always exceptions, but in general terms, I would say no, because that would take a spot away from the ones available. And by the way, our call for our next workshop is open until the end of this month. So if you want to participate in January, please don't forget to check our website and apply.
So in other words, to ask you, Joost, if I am a producer and I have a project and I have everything that it's okay with your application, but I want to come to your workshop with a post-production supervisor of my project, is it possible for me, the producer, to bring with me my post-production supervisor and have both of us in your program? Or actually not?
We are open to that. We are open to that. We will, of course, look at both applications also separately, because, yeah, we do want to see who we're choosing. But yes, that is a possibility.
Okay.
I have another question for all 3 programs, Catriel.
Okay, please go ahead. We still have a bit of time.
Yes. A question from Eloise, the film commissioner from Curaçao. As a general question, what is your position on participation from OCTs, which means overseas territories that are part of the EU? I hope I'm saying this correctly. We were looking it up in the chat. So that's a question for all programs.
I say we love OCTs. Yes.
But just in general, all the programs are open to a certain percentage of non-EU participants, and yes, you can apply from anywhere in the world to all of these programs.
And the OCTs are overseas, but they are eligible for media because they're often part of or have been a part of a European country. Just on a side note,
and I would assume OCTs are usually what are called by media guidelines low production capacity countries, and all our workshops, when they're media or Creative Europe co-financed, have to admit a certain percentage of participants from low production countries.
Yeah, I would like to add a comment from Andrea Postuma, and she said they are considered European. So that's, but maybe now we're all informed on that.
So this is it. Any other questions?
I think so. Those were the questions that came in.
Okay. So we have
yes.
another 3-4 minutes. So I think that maybe we should really begin to wrap it up. If there is any other thing that you would like very, very briefly to add, Jacobin, Hughes, Nico, Mercedes, this is the moment, but really very brief in one sentence, if possible. If not, we'll move on. We okay?
Let me add one
Okay.
thing from our side.
So I would like, yes.
Catriel, I'd like to add one thing from our side. The reason Joost and I are presenting as a duo for the workshop is because that's also how we handle the groups. So in our workshop, we always have a producer and a post supervisor as group leaders to have these two perspectives, also to give input to the projects. That's why there's two of us and there's only one from the other workshop, because it resembles what we do at the workshop.
Yeah, and I think we should
great.
have gotten 20 minutes of speaking time, but that's besides the point.
Okay, I'm not, this is what we were given from the organizers, so that's okay. And in this occasion, I would like really, first of all, to thank you all very much for a very informative presentation, and also for the great job that you are doing, really. I participated in so many, in different stages and so on, and you are doing a tremendous job, really. And I think that, as we said, we are in a kind of an art form which calls for really a long life learning. We keep on learning all the time, and we have to do it. And we have to develop our new skills, and we have to be, actually, if one can say in a simplistic way, on top of things. If we really want to be successful in what we do, and we want to get the best of what we can do and what our great art form offers. So I think that this is the moment to thank again the media desk of Netherlands, again to the Creative Europe media programs, and to, of course, to the leaders of ACE, of APostLab, and for TorinoFilmLab, again, for the great job that you are doing. And of course, a very special thank to all the participants that you made your time to be with us in this afternoon. And special thanks to Nelice, to Robert Vamos, and to Emma O'Hare for putting it all together in this great afternoon. Thank you all very much, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
you.
Catriel, for being
you,
our great
Catriel.
moderator. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, let's see. People are leaving the call, but still 33 in.
I'm also
yes.
off. I have to go into my other call.
Thanks very much, Jacobin.
Bye.
Bye, Jacobin.
Bye. Bye.